For many fans, it was like watching a friend just vanish into thin air. One moment, Derek Bieri the magnetic, down-to-earth host of Vice Grip Garage was wrenching on forgotten cars with grease on his hands and a joke on his lips, and next he was gone. The upload slowed, the shop lights dimmed, and viewers were left scrolling the channel, wondering what happened. To the outside world, Derek had it all. Millions of subscribers, a wildly successful YouTube brand, partnerships with major automotive companies, and even his own TV show. But behind the camera, behind the steady hands fixing fuel lines and reviving old engines, Derek was facing a crossroad, a personal battle. Something deeper than a broken-down Chevelle or a seized-up Mustang. Fans could only guess, but the truth is, sometimes even the strongest need to step away and reset. And what led to that moment started long before the cameras ever rolled, long before Vice Grip Garage became a staple in the online car world. Derek Bieri was just a farm kid in North Dakota. Born on May 16, 1984, he grew up in a place where the winters were harsh, the roads were long, and the only way to fix anything was to do it yourself. It wasn't about learning how to work on cars for fun, it was a matter of survival. On that farm, if something broke, you fixed it. If the tractor quit, you didn't call a mechanic. You and your father and your grandfather put your heads together, rolled up your sleeves, and found a way to get it moving again. Derek wasn't handed this knowledge. He earned it the hard way, one busted knuckle at a time. That kind of upbringing doesn't just teach you how to repair things. It teaches you grit. It builds a quiet kind of confidence that says, I can figure this out even when everything's gone wrong. But the most surprising part of Derek's early story isn't just how he learned to fix cars, it's that for a long time, he didn't even work in a garage. Derek spent years doing what most people would call the right thing. He put on the suit, he walked into the office, he did the corporate job with the stable paycheck and the long commute. And on paper it looked great. He had climbed the ladder, made decent money, and kept his family taken care of. But inside, it was tearing him apart. In one interview, he said he'd look around and realize he was living a life he didn't even remember choosing. That kind of quiet discontent is hard to explain unless you felt it. It's not drama, it's a dull ache that grows heavier each day until you can't ignore it anymore. So Derek did something that most people only dream about. He took a risk. Inspired by the grit and ingenuity of YouTube channels like Roadkill, he decided to turn his own garage into a stage. No crew, no budget, just a busted iPhone duct taped to a garage door and a dream that maybe someone out there might want to watch, and people did watch. Not just because Derek could fix cars, but because he made people feel like they could fix them too. He wasn't flashy, he didn't show off. He used zip ties, plastic fuel lines, and tools that looked like they came from a yard sale, and that was the magic. He made the impossible look doable. That first video Derek, a small block engine, and an old Camaro wasn't polished or perfect, but it was real. It was honest. And it struck a chord with viewers hungry for something more than the usual high-budget, low-substance content. Slowly, his channel grew. And with each car he brought back from the dead, he brought more people along for the ride. What started as a side hobby shooting videos after work, editing them late at night, became something much bigger. Derek was no longer just fixing cars. He was building a community. A tribe of gearheads, dreamers, and do-it-yourselfers who believed in second chances, both for cars and for people. By 2018, Derek had made the leap. He walked away from the security of the office life and jumped headfirst into YouTube full-time. It wasn't easy. There were no guarantees, no safety nets. Just faith. Faith in himself, in his family, and in the people watching on the other side of the screen, and it worked. The channel exploded. From Monte Carlos to Caprices, old barn finds to junkyard relics, Derek brought life back into cars that others had given up on. His hands-on, budget-friendly approach made him a hero to backyard mechanics everywhere. While other creators polished their videos to perfection, Derek kept things raw, long, and real. Some of his videos ran over 90 minutes because that's how long it took to get the job done. No shortcuts, no fancy tricks. Just pure, authentic wrenching, and people respected that. Vice Grip Garage wasn't just a channel anymore, it was a movement. A statement that passion beats perfection every time. Then came the move to Tennessee in 2021. On the surface, it looked like a family decision. Better weather, lower cost of living, more space for projects. But underneath it was something deeper. In Minnesota, Derek was spending hours commuting time stolen from his family, his shop, and himself. Tennessee offered more than just sunshine. It gave him time back, time to breathe, to think, to be present. And as the new shop took shape, so did a new chapter in Derek's life. Opportunities started pouring in. Brands wanted to collaborate. Fans were lining up for meet and greets. And then came the biggest offer yet, a show on Motor Trend. It was called Roadworthy Rescues, and it felt like the natural next step. A national platform to do what he loved, reviving forgotten vehicles and showing the world that every car, like every person, deserves another shot. But with the lights came pressure. Bigger stakes, less freedom, more expectations. And that's where the cracks began to show. By 2023, something had shifted. Fans noticed fewer uploads. The signature humor was still there, but it felt more tired. The spark that once fueled Derek's every turn of the wrench seemed dimmer. Behind the scenes, the weight of success was taking its toll. Running a business, filming a show, editing massive videos, managing sponsors, moving a family, racing, fixing, auctioning, it was too much. And through it all, Derek remained silent. He didn't make a big announcement. He didn't post a dramatic farewell. He just stepped back, and maybe that was the most honest thing he could do. In a world where everyone shares every detail, Derek did what he'd always done. He let his work speak for itself. And when the work got too heavy, he took a breath. He chose his peace, his family, his sanity, but stepping back doesn't mean giving up. Derek never walked away from the community. He built. He continued to appear at racing events, restoring cars quietly and partnering with names like Motion Raceworks, Holly, and Bear Brakes. His love for cars never left, it just evolved. In 2023, when he was handed the keys to El Toro, a drag car gifted by Motion Raceworks, it marked not just a milestone, but a moment of deep recognition from the racing world. He raced the entire sick week with it, clocking 8-second passes down the track, and his quiet, humble reaction spoke volumes. "I'm a pretty hard guy to get excited," he said, "but I can tell you that experience blew me away." It was a reminder that no matter how far he'd come, Derek was still that same kid from North Dakota. Just with a faster car and a bigger audience. What really happened to Derek Bieri? He grew. He changed. He faced burnout and made the courageous decision to protect what mattered most. His story isn't about disappearance, it's about resilience. About choosing health over hustle and peace over pressure. And while Vice Grip Garage may not upload as often as it once did, its legacy is cemented. Not just in millions of views, or cars saved from the scrapyard, but in the countless viewers who picked up a wrench because of Derek. He didn't just teach people how to fix cars, he reminded them that second chances are worth fighting for. Whether you're reviving a dead engine or rebuilding your life, the lesson is the same. Start where you are, use what you've got, and never be afraid to say, "I can figure this out." Because that's what Derek did. And that's what Vice Grip Garage will always stand for. It was never just about the cars. Not really. Not to Derek Bieri, for all the roaring engines, the clouds of tire smoke, and the thrill of reviving a lifeless heap of rust into something roadworthy. There was always something deeper driving it. Family. Behind every camera angle, every road trip filmed on the fly, every moment that seemed effortlessly authentic on Vice Grip Garage, there's a small, tightly knit group that isn't just part of the production. They are the heartbeat of it. This isn't a company with departments and board meetings. This is a home with love, chaos, laughter, and hard work baked into its bones. And at the center of that home is Jessica Derek's wife and his behind-the-scenes powerhouse. She doesn't seek the spotlight, and you'll rarely see her in the videos, but without her, the gears would grind to a halt. She's the one who plans the travel logistics, packs the gear, organizes the tools. makes sure the paperwork is in order, and often handles the coordination with sponsors and brands. She's not a background player, she's co-director, co-pilot, and co-dreamer. Derek once said, "Without Jessica, half of these videos wouldn't even happen." He wasn't exaggerating. If Vice Grip Garage is an engine, she's the oil that keeps it from seizing up. Their three boys, too, are growing up with the smell of oil and rubber in their lungs and wrenches in their hands, surrounded by the sounds of vintage metal coming back to life. It's a childhood that mirrors Derek's own, a simple, hands-on life where problems are solved one bolt at a time. And then there's Bentley, the youngest of the bunch and already a force to be reckoned with. He's got a fire in his belly that reminds people of his dad. And it didn't take long for him to carve out a space of his own with his YouTube channel, Little Grip Garage. He's not pretending, he's not reading off scripts. Bentley is working on go-karts and dirt bikes with the same curiosity, humor, and hands-on learning that made Derek famous. Fans instantly took to the idea watching a new generation pick up the torch. It's not about pushing a kid into the limelight. It's about passing on a tradition. The Bieri family never tried to make themselves famous. They didn't need to act like a perfect TV family. When they're seen cooking meals out of the camper van during a road trip, helping each other load a trailer, or scrambling to get a car to start minutes before an event, that's not scripted drama. That's life. It's the quiet, unfiltered chaos of a family doing something they love together. And it's that authenticity that viewers latch onto. It's why people don't just watch Vice Grip Garage for the builds. They watch for the people. Even longtime friends like Chad Ashheim and his wife Haley aren't just background support. They're family in every sense of the word, helping haul vehicles, assisting on big road trips, jumping in when things get crazy. This isn't a cast. It's a circle tight, humble, real. Still, as things changed in 2023, fans began to sense a shift. The upload slowed. Events that once featured Derek's name on the lineup now listed others. Live streams that had once felt like regular fireside. Chats became rare. Updates came in short Instagram stories, cryptic website messages, just enough to say, "We're still here," but never enough to explain why. And maybe that was the point. Derek never wanted to be a spectacle. He never wanted to be famous, for the sake of being seen. When life got busy, complicated, and overwhelming, the Bieri family did what they've always done. They stepped back, regrouped, and figured things out quietly. There wasn't a scandal, no public meltdown. No on-camera breakdown begging for sympathy. What happened was real life. The channel grew faster than anyone expected, and with that came new responsibilities, more stress, tighter schedules. The same grit that got them to the top now had to be used to hold it all together. They needed to redesign their lives, to find a new rhythm that honored their values while keeping up with their success. It was the growing pains of turning passion into legacy, and while fans worried, the Bieri family was simply adapting, just like they always had, and with that kind of spotlight, of course, came rumors. Whispers about lawsuits floated through forums. Speculation about drama circled in comment sections. But none of it was true. Vice Grip Garage had no secret scandal waiting to surface. The truth was far less glamorous, but far more human growth required change. And the Bieri family handled that change with the same quiet dignity they always had. By 2025, Vice Grip Garage had crossed the 1 million subscriber milestone and racked up over 750 million views across its content. Derek wasn't just a YouTube creator anymore. He had become a symbol of perseverance, of humility, of what it meant to build something from nothing without selling your soul to the internet. Even as his appearances became less frequent, that legacy only grew. Some fans feared burnout. Others wondered if something had gone wrong behind the scenes. But then came a photo that quietly silenced the speculation. It wasn't a staged update or a dramatic announcement. It was Derek at Walt Disney World, waiting in line with his family. No entourage, no camera crew. Just him being present. A fan spotted him and asked for a photo. Derek smiled and didn't say no to anyone. The moment went viral not because it was extraordinary, but because it proved the one thing fans needed to know: he was still the same guy. Just a little more tired, maybe? A little more protective of his time. But still the Derek they loved. Meanwhile, Vice Grip Garage was no longer just a YouTube channel. It had grown into a brand complete with its own line of merchandise, tools, home parts, and custom car restorations. Derek launched a merch store, expanded into selling restored builds like the Monte Carlo and Nova that fans had seen brought back to life in his videos, and even offered personal shout-outs on Cameo. These weren't pre-recorded or mass-produced videos. Each one was filmed during real work in the garage with sweat on his brow and a car half-assembled in the background. Birthday messages, thank yous, pep talks, they were all spoken with the same sincerity that made Vice Grip Garage what it is, and that's why brands like Motion Raceworks, Holly Performance, and Bear Brakes trust him not as a spokesperson but as a collaborator. He doesn't just put a sticker on a bumper, he offers real feedback, tests their products in the field, and helps fans understand what's worth their hard-earned money. At big events like C10s in the city, he doesn't stand on a stage trying to sell something. He signs autographs, answers questions, and teaches people how to do the work themselves. He's still the guy who says, you don't need a fancy garage to build something amazing. And people believe him because he's proof of that. Derek's love for burnouts is still alive and well. He tied for first place at the 6 Skids Burnout Contest in August. It's a small, wild part of what he does, but even there, he brings his same energy fun. Community-driven, unpolished excitement. Vice Grip Garage continues to shift gears to keep up with Derek's bigger vision, and he's been open about it. My heart will always be with budget builds and how we can make this thing run on as little coin as possible, he once said. I'm just a blue-collar, hard-working guy. I work 7 days a week. I don't have endless budgets. I like to show people you can enjoy a car. It doesn't have to be shiny or fast or expensive. But he's also practical. If I save 1 vehicle a week, that's great, he added. But then I'm just the guy with cars rotting in my yard. We have to use them. Sometimes that means selling them and giving them to someone else who can do something with them. That's not walking away from a build. That's knowing when to let go and trusting the journey forward, whether it was for family, for rest, or for something deeply personal. Derek Bieri may have taken a step back, but not away. He still checks in. He still protects his fans. This past May, he issued a warning about online scammers pretending to be affiliated with Vice Grip Garage. He didn't have to. It wasn't a big press release. It was a quiet moment on social media where he simply said, "Watch out." And that speaks volumes. It shows he still cares deeply. Not just about the brand, but about the people who believe in it. The truth is, Derek Bieri's legacy hasn't faded. It's matured. He's inspired thousands of people, not just to pick up a wrench and fix an old car, but to take control of their own lives, to believe in second chances, to believe that if you can fix a car, maybe you can fix yourself too. And maybe that's the greatest impact he's had, not the millions of views, not the brand deals, not the viral videos, but the quiet, lasting influence he's had on everyday people who looked at an old engine and said, if Derek can do it, maybe I can too. Whether he's standing in front of a camera or waiting in line with his kids at Disney World, Derek Bieri is still that same guy from the garage, the one who never gave up on something broken. And that's exactly why his story will keep running long after the cameras stop rolling.